In 2009, Domino's paid for an ad that told America its pizza crust tasted like cardboard. That sounds like brand suicide. 4 months later, US same-store sales were up 14.3%, and adjusted earnings per share were up 75%. Those are Domino's numbers, not an advertising award. What happened between the insult and the result was more than an apology. Domino's was not a fragile startup. In 2008, it had 8,773 stores and more than $5.5 billion in global retail sales. It owned a delivery machine. The problem was that the machine could reach a home faster than the product could earn another order. The warning was already in the sales line. Domestic same-store sales fell 4.9% in 2008. They barely returned to growth in 2009. Scale was protecting the brand, but scale was no longer fixing demand. For decades, the customer contract was simple. Domino's would get dinner to your door reliably. Convenience was the moat. But when better frozen pizza and more restaurant choices raised expectations, delivery speed could no longer excuse a forgettable core product. The operating system was formidable. Domino's supply chain made dough, processed vegetables, and served every company-owned store plus more than 99% of domestic franchise stores. In 2008, that segment generated $771.1 million in revenue. Changing the pizza meant changing a machine at national scale. So Domino's did the expensive part before the dramatic part. It rebuilt the hand-tossed pizza with a more robust sauce, more flavorful cheese, and garlic-seasoned crust. The new recipe was scheduled for every US store by December 27, 2009. This was not a cosmetic menu tweak. The three things customers experience in every bite, sauce, cheese, and crust, changed together. Domino's was replacing the product behind its biggest revenue engine, while thousands of stores kept operating. Only then did the company release Pizza Turnaround. The film used actual Domino's employees, showed them absorbing harsh customer criticism, and made the failed product part of the launch story. The brand did not hide the wound. It put the wound in the first frame. Most corporate apologies ask the audience to forget. Domino's used its apology to create a test. You remember the bad pizza. We say it changed. Now order one and judge us. The confession converted skepticism into curiosity. But the product still had to settle the argument. The sequence is the whole strategy. On December 21, the film made the old weakness impossible to ignore. By December 27, the rebuilt pizza was in US stores. The ad created a tension at almost the exact moment the operation could deliver proof. The first quarter response was immediate. Domestic same-store sales rose 14.3%. Total revenue rose 18.4%. And adjusted diluted earnings per share rose 75% from the prior year quarter. Attention had become traffic, and traffic had become operating leverage. Domino's own release credited increased store traffic from the new pizza. Its incoming chief executive described the result as a remarkably better pizza, combined with honesty about how the company told consumers. That distinction matters. The ad earned a trial, while the food had to earn the repeat. If the campaign had produced only a launch spike, the lesson would be shallow. But domestic same-store sales finished 2010, up 9.9%. The business held most of the gain across an entire year, long after the shock of the confession had faded. That year, global retail sales rose 11.4%, and the system added 352 net stores. Domino's ended 2010 with 9,351 locations. The turnaround was no longer just a clever campaign. It had widened the base from which the company could keep expanding. The longer arc is striking. Domino's grew from 8,773 locations in 2008 to 9,351 inches 2010, and more than 15,900 by 2018. That year, the company described itself as the world's largest pizza company by global retail sales. The recipe did not magically cause 8 years of growth. Domino's kept stacking advantages onto the reset, especially digital ordering. By 2018, digital channels produced more than half of global retail sales and more than 65% of US sales. This separates the useful lesson from the slogan. Confession without repair is self-destruction. Repair without confession is easy to ignore. Domino's paired an operational change with a public claim so specific that customers could verify it with one order. For any company with a damaged product, the order of operations is brutal but clear. Fix the thing customers dislike. Build the system that can deliver the fix everywhere. Then, make a claim risky enough that ignoring it becomes harder than testing it. Domino's did not win because it admitted the old pizza was bad. It won because every customer could test whether the change was real. The confession created attention. The evidence kept the customer